All right, looks like we're ready to go, folks. Welcome to the Plan Commission meeting for April 1st, 2014. And this is not April Fool's. This is a real meeting. And for those that have not been at the meeting before, first of all, we ask that you turn your cell phones to silent or vibrate so that we aren't distracted by them during the meeting. Second of all, the way the agenda works is once we're done calling the roll and reviewing the minutes from the last meeting, city staff will review an item, and then prior to public commentary, we get technical questions from the commission. Once technical questions are done, we open it up to public commentary. If you have something to say, just step up to the microphone, say your name and address so we have it for the minutes, and then tell us what you want us to know. After everybody who has desired to speak has done so, we close public commentary and bring it back to the commission for discussion and then a vote. And with that, let's call the roll.
David Borsak.
Present.
Ed Bowen.
Here.
Jeffrey Towns.
Here.
Thomas Wojtek.
Here.
John Hintz. Steve Cummings.
Here.
Kathleen Propp.
Here.
Donna Laurie. Robert Weigert. Carl Nolenberger.
Okay. Approval of the minutes from March 18th. Do we have any corrections, additions, deletions?
Move approval. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes. Let's move on to item number 1, extraterritorial two-lot land division / certified survey map at the southwest corner of Black Wolf Avenue and Old Knapp Road in the town of Nakaima.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sure thing.
All right. Carroll Land Surveying is requesting an extraterritorial land division at the southwest corner of Black Wolf Avenue and Old Knapp Road in the town of Nakaima. The subject site is approximately 1 mile west of County Road I and 2 miles south of the city limits. The property is currently being used for agricultural purposes, which is consistent with the adjacent properties in the area. The request for the land division is to allow the proposed lot to be developed as a single-family residential use, with proposed lot 2 continuing to be used for agricultural purposes. The proposed lot configuration is consistent with other lots in the area and meets the minimum lot size requirement for the intended use. While the comprehensive plan identifies this area as appropriate for rural preservation, the establishment of a new non-agricultural residential use would conflict. State legislation prohibits communities from using their extraterritorial review power to reject land division based on land use. Furthermore, in this case, the city has adopted a boundary agreement with the town of Nakaima that does permit land divisions for non-agricultural residential uses within the rural preservation area which the subject site is located within. And this land division is consistent with the terms of the agreement. The Department of Public Works has reviewed the proposed land division and is making 2 recommendations to Winnebago County prior to their approval. First, based on aerial images and GIS data, there appears to be proposed or possible wetlands that should be indicated on the final map. And second, based on aerial photos, there appears to be a drainage ditch that runs through the property, which would require easements per Winnebago County Code. With that, staff is recommending approval of the 2-lot extraterritorial land division as proposed.
Okay, thank you. Technical questions? Okay, seeing none, anybody here from the audience to speak to this item today? Okay, seeing none, public commentary is closed. Back to the commission. Go ahead, David.
And this is maybe goes back to technical, but were there would this be conditions to verify, whether there's wetlands and whether there's a drainage ditch? Is that go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say it would be up to Winnebago County to enforce, yeah. So we can make the recommendation that they look at that, but it would be their conditions to impose.
Then it's not necessary to put it below the line.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions or thoughts? Or motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Borsak.
Aye.
Bowen.
Aye.
Towns.
Aye.
Cummings.
Aye.
Propp.
Aye.
Wojtek.
Aye.
Motion carried 6-0.
All right, item number 2, rezone 143 Idaho Street and 2 vacant lots to the south from C2 General Commercial to R2 two-family residence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sure thing.
As stated
This is a rezoning application that came through for 143 Idaho Street from its current designation of C2 General Commercial to the proposed R2 two-family residence designation. In addition to that, we have two City of Oshkosh parcels that we can see right here that are also going to be requesting a rezoning from a split zone of R2 two-family residence designation as well as C2 general commercial designation. The subject parcel, the residence itself, is approximately 0.84 acres in size, and the two City of Oshkosh vacant parcels total approximately 1.49 acres in size. So as we look around the parcels, to the north we have existing C2 general commercial with mixed commercial on Witzel, as well as the Parks and Forestry Maintenance Facility building. To the west, we have single and two-family residence within an R2 two-family residence designation, continuing that to the south, as well as a continuance of the C2 general commercial designation south of the subject parcels. And then to the east, we have the City of Oshkosh Central Garage and the City of Oshkosh Water Distribution Facilities building. So the petitioner, as stated, is requesting a rezoning for their residents to help the residents go from general commercial to the two-family residence designation. That includes the subject parcels. One thing I would like to note, though, is that by rezoning these three subject parcels, we would be creating an island of general commercial, maintaining the C2 designation. Best planning practices would recommend that we rezone all of them, which is in compliance, wrong direction, my mistake, which would be in compliance with our 10 and 20-year land use plan. Currently, right now, the subject parcels are non-conforming, being that they're single-family residents within a commercial district. The land use plan would recommend that we go to a residence for all 5 of them. It wouldn't create due hardship for any of the parcels, but we did talk with 225 and 229 Idaho. It is one owner for both parcels, and he did state his approval of the parcels to the north, but did also want to state his apprehension of rezoning his parcels. He's afraid that the selling of his parcels may become more difficult in the future. 229 Idaho is currently a carpentry shop. It is a commercial business within that designation, and it is consistent with the C2 use. I would like to note that the residence currently is non-conforming, while if we did change the zoning of all 5, it would shift that non-conforming use to the business itself. It would then become non-conforming with an R2 residence designation. With that, staff would recommend the approval of the rezoning application of 143 Idaho Street and the 2 vacant City of Oshkosh lots from their current C2 general commercial designation to the R2 two-family residence district.
Okay, thank you. Technical questions from the board? So, question for me is, so then we're not really addressing the whole area here. We're just going to.
That's correct.
You just want to deal with what's in front of you as opposed
Correct.
to.
We felt it was important to talk about all 5 parcels,
right,
and that we would be creating that island zoning, but the actual application is only for the subject site, which is 143 Idaho, and the administrative cleanup of the City of Oshkosh parcels from their current split zoning to just a single zoning of R2 two-family designation.
Right, and that zone change is consistent with the comprehensive plan.
Got it. Other technical questions? Okay, seeing none. Anyone here from the audience to speak to this item today? Up, sir.
Dale Renderman, 143 Idaho Street. We'd like that rezone so that we could sell the property. As it is, nobody can get financing for it.
Heard this before, actually. Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else here to speak to this item today? Come on up, sir.
My name's Tom Phillips, and my wife and I own the 2 properties directly to the south at 225 and 229. And I've talked with someone from planning before, and our cabinet shop is, if it's non-conforming and I'm trying to sell it, what would be able to go into that building? What kind of business could go into that building?
We have to look at the actual permitted uses and conditional uses within it. Currently, right now, you would still be allowed to keep your carpentry shop. It would be considered a legal non-conforming use of the lot. Any future sales of the property could also still maintain that usage. When it gets into greater detail of what it would have to, what could be used within the building, we'd have to review the zoning code, and a meeting would work.
So before I could sell it, let's say an electrician wanted to buy it and start a little electric shop. Would I be able to sell it to him?
Typically, the intensity of the use, whether it's carpentry or plumbing or electrician or metal fab, the intensity is going to determine what level of use can be in there. So, to use examples, so if you're using still sort of an in-house cabinetry or plumbing shop, that would still be allowed in there. If you were to go something more intense like a restaurant or a retail center, a store, a McDonald's or something, at that point, if it was non-conforming, at that point, it would not be, that wouldn't be permitted to be considered an increase in the intensity of use.
Could it be some sort of an office, insurance office or something?
Depending on the level of traffic coming and going. If it were
Well, there's a
rezoned.
lot of traffic around there the way it is,
Well,
so I
right.
wouldn't.
But it's the intensity of the use on the lot itself.
So should I take it off the market for selling it? I have it for sale now. What can I do?
Well, right now, you're zone C2.
So if
So
what if I
almost any commercial use is allowed in there right now.
and then what if 6 months from now they tell the guy that he has to change it to residential?
Well, if it gets changed to residential, you'd be considered legal nonconforming, but we're not recommending that right now. I can't speak for the future, but
Well, I don't have any objection to the renderments, but or my house. I mean, my house is worth more as residential also than it is commercial.
Okay.
Nobody has any questions for me.
Oh, we do, Kevin.
Yeah, on the map, which one is your house that you're talking about? The one
Right,
that was-
yes, yes.
And the one that's dark colored is your carpenter?
This is a cabinet shop, yes.
And your house right now is zoned residential?
C2.
zone commercial.
Everything there is C2.
Currently, the subject site, in addition to the two parcels directly to the south, are
Okay.
C2
Why
general.
wouldn't it be in your best interest, as long as this is happening right now, to rezone your house?
I would rezone my house, but not my business.
Well, why couldn't he do that?
Good, we'd probably have to bring it as a separate action since it wasn't noticed
Okay.
in this.
But then if he
staff report.
wanted to, he could bring it back at another time
Sure, anything that,
and
it would bring it more
rezone
into
his house
compliance.
only.
Sure.
And then that would be legal conforming, and he could sell it if he wanted to. And then his business would remain.
But he could only sell it for residential purposes. Right now, he can sell both lots for commercial purposes.
Correct.
He'd be better off doing that. He just has to make that decision himself.
Yeah, and we can't do that here.
You may want to wait
Thank
until
you.
you have a buyer you're looking to sell the house before you zone it. You may get a buyer who wants to do commercial on both lots.
Well,
I'm just
I had
speculating.
the same situation as the Rendermans. I had someone that was interested in a house, and they needed to get a commercial loan, which was a higher down payment and a higher interest rate. So that turned them off.
Something you would have to decide to pursue, and that we obviously can't make that decision here right now, because that's not what's in front of us.
Right.
Right, but when I did question changing the house only, they said, no deal. I'd have to change the cabinet shop also. You did, David Buck.
Yes, I did. That would have been a spot. You would have had one
Oh.
piece in the middle of a commercial
Right.
area, but now you're connecting it to the north. Yeah, I mean, you're going, because the properties to the north are going to go residential, yours would now be connected to the residential.
Right.
So that could take place.
So in other words, the cabinet shop wouldn't be able to stay commercial.
No, well, we'd have to talk about this at another one, but the cabin shop could stay commercial, and you could potentially rezone just the house, because you're coming into compliance without creating a spot. You're already C2,
Right.
right? So what you would be changing would be coming into compliance, and not surrounded by commercial, which is what you were going to do before, because the neighbor to the north wasn't changed. But that, anyway.
Right.
That's
Okay.
What we're voting on today. Okay.
I have no objections to
Thank you.
anything else.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
good, thanks.
Anybody else here to speak to this item today? Going once, twice. Okay, public commentary is closed. Now back to the commission. Thoughts, comments, opinions?
Move approval. Second.
Moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Borzak?
Aye.
Vaughn?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
Hughes?
Aye.
Cumming?
Aye.
Crop?
Aye.
Wojtek?
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay. Moving on to item 3, land division and plan development approval for property located at 1935 to 1989 South Keller Street, a.k.a. Oshkosh Center.
Yes, this is a shopping center, basically on the corner of 20th and Keller on the highway. They're coming through for a plan development approval, and as part of that plan development approval would be the land division concept. This is a lot we're talking about right now. It's got Oshkosh Center on it. There's Petco. Maybe I have a better image here. Here we go. We have Petco in this part of the shopping center. This area is currently vacant. You have Aldi's food store on its own lot, but connected to the center itself. Fazoli's and I believe Payless Shoes. I think that's Payless Shoes up there. So the lot itself is outlined in blue. It's about 5.3 acres. It contains 47,000 square feet of commercial retail space. What the petitioner is requesting to do is to come forward and divide this lot down the center blue line to basically create two lots out of the one, Lot 1 and Lot 2. In the mid-90s, 94 and 95, I believe, Aldi's was separated, and then these two outlots in the front were separated. It's sort of the same type of concept. To the north, you have a medical center use, you have Target and more commercial. To the east across Keller, you have the highway and some light industrial across the highway. So again, this is what you kind of see. As you saw before, they would be splitting the lot down the center, basically making two lots. One would be 1.89 acres, include about 15,000 square feet of retail space. It would be the Petco store, and that would also include about 112 parking stalls. The second lot, or Lot 2, it's actually easier to see on here, Lot 2 would be the larger lot at about 3.4 acres, consists of about 31,000 square feet of retail space and 132 parking stalls. You've seen these come through times before, and it requires quite a few base standard modifications. This one, the first base standard modification that it's going to need is proposed Lot 1 would have no access to the public right-of-way. So that would be a base standard modification that would be needed. They would have to go through Lot 2 to get access out onto Keller Street, or to come through Lot 2 and then the Aldi's lot as well to get to Keller Street on the east. Additionally, a sizable portion of this lot is currently stormwater detention. I think I have a better picture of it. You can see it here. The lot itself is used for stormwater detention, so that it's another shared development between the two lots. And the drive aisles, obviously the parking are all shared. So those types of things would need to come through. Cross-access parking and maintenance agreements would have to be coming through, and we're recommending those as conditions of approval. Those would have to go with the Register of Deeds. Also, because of that shared stormwater detention, they would have to have a shared stormwater detention and maintenance agreement to go along with that as well. Base standard modification, again, I'm going to go back to this one. For setbacks, because now we're putting a lot line in, there's a 15-foot setback on both sides of that lot line would be required by code. Obviously, they would be at a 0 setback with the shared facilities. That's going to require base standard modification as well. There's a multi-tenant sign. You can kind of see the shadow of it down here that has all the tenants in the center. That would require base standard modification as well. He'd be advertising off-site. There are also multiple other issues associated with separating the common building itself, including fire separation in between the two buildings will need to be installed. One of the biggest issues that is still yet to be resolved down here, they're working with the city now, is utility service. Right now, there's one water service that is servicing this entire center. Code requires 2 water services, so they would have to add a second water service or do some other type of instrument to get its own water service to the new Lot 1. That would come through as part of the staff review of the CSM. They could arrange for that to happen. Really what you're proving here is the concept of that lot split. Also, as part of the plan development, what they came in to propose is to do a little bit of improvements into the parking lot. They have 2 very long green grass strips along the center drive aisle. They were coming in to add a bunch of islands, basically 5 different islands in here. When we looked at it, because of that detention area that sits right here, those islands would actually take up volume, stormwater detention volume. So what we're going to be recommending of approval is relocating these 2 islands into the center, outside of the detention area, into the center of the drive aisles. And then we're also recommending an additional island be added to kind of separate this main drive aisle that goes along in front of the building, like they have it over here, as well as break up this sort of larger area of asphalt. It's as close as we can come into compliance with the requirements, parking code, without affecting their detention facilities and the capacity of their detention facility. So we do believe that the proposal for the land division is not detrimental to the shopping center itself. It's going to function exactly the same as it always had. There's just sort of that paper line would allow Petco potentially to buy off their own building. We do think that the inclusion of those landscape islands within the parking area is definitely going to enhance the aesthetics and, to a lesser degree, the safety at the center. All city departments had reviewed the proposed land division, don't have any major concerns except for those stated, and with the conditions coming in place. So we are recommending approval, and I can go through these. I'll go through them quick. Base standard modification to the level lot without access, cross-access, parking and maintenance agreements be put in place, stormwater management and maintenance agreements be put in place, the base standard modification for the side yard setback and the off-premise sign, and the relocation of the parking lot islands as shown. But I do want to point out that they still have to go with the CSM process, so all those other issues.
This is the beginning of a multi-step opportunity.
No.
All right. Technical questions. David.
When you said it's 5.26 acres, is that for what I would call Lot 1, Lot 2, and Lot 3, or just Lot 1 and Lot 2?
Just Lot 1 and Lot 2.
And as far as you referred a couple of times to the parking lot as a detention, as the whole stormwater treatment area, which is, when it was installed, is a lot different than what current ordinances are. Is there a way to address that whatever development is done at Lot 1 and Lot 2 are collective, and so would fall under the 20,000 square foot, so that if that collectively that was done, that both lots would have to come to would trigger the new stormwater requirement?
We could put that that would be a condition you could add as part of the plan development.
Looks like Steve has an opinion on this.
In working with the group so far, to their point, their intent is to try to stay underneath that 20,000 threshold at this point in time, so they would not be introducing any need for water quality requirements at this time. They would still be just maintaining the quantity.
And I understand,
but in the future.
But it would be that they're staying under, but it would also be, I understand it, they could do 19,000 square feet, but in one section, but do 1,000, 2,000 at a later date, but then it would be added together, and that would be the trigger.
Correct. We would keep the triggering together. If you want to put that as a condition on there, that would be great. But yeah, we would be wanting to look at those as a 20,000 square feet of that existing development. not 20,000 square feet on each new lot.
Yes, thank you.
Other technical questions? Okay, seeing none, anyone here from the public to speak to this item today? I believe the petitioner is enjoying warmer weather than we are, off in Arizona. Okay, seeing none, back to the commission. David.
I'd like to submit a motion, and I will submit to the technical expertise, but the concept is that Lot 1 and 2, as far as stormwater management and triggers for upgrading to meet current ordinances, would be that you would look at Lot 1 and 2 collectively.
For all future.
For all future.
Right.
Second that motion.
Okay. So that would be added as a condition.
That would be condition G.
Okay, condition G. All right. Other thoughts?
You have to vote on that
Yep.
motion.
Then let's call the roll on them. David's basically wants to add a condition.
Borzak,
Yes.
Owen,
Aye.
Holmes. Hens,
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye?
Aye.
motion carried 7-0.
Any other discussion or other motions?
For approval as amended.
Second.
Moved by David, seconded by Kathy. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Borzak,
Aye.
Owen,
Aye.
Holmes,
Aye.
Hens,
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye?
Borzak,
Aye.
motion carried 7-0.
All right, let's move on to item number 4. Plan development approval to permit manufactured home sales and display at 3596 Stearns Drive.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was actually a laid-over item from October of 2013. Mr. Delling had come through at that time to do a same concept, but 3 model homes, a new driveway, and sort of a cul-de-sac parking access area off of Stearns. He is now coming through this time with a request to just do one display home and eliminate the driveway. So, well, I'll go through real briefly. It is zoned C2 plan development. This is the old Sunset School. It's used for Dulling's contractor yard. In 2005 and 2006, there were amendments to the plan development to include the warehousing type business to the north. You can see zoning all around is either manufacturing plan development or commercial plan development. This is the way the lot looks today, and well, you can't see the property to the north, but there's the warehouse. That's the old school. The contractor yard wraps around the east and the south side of the building, accesses off of Stearns with the parking lot and the front entrance of the building. The lot itself is about 4.5 acres. So this was the original proposal. If you just to refresh your memory, here again is the school, the former school, the contractor's storage yard. He had proposed to come in with a cul-de-sac and 3 model homes. The new proposal is augmented a little bit. You still would pull back the contractor's yard, relocate the fence, so it would only be on the east side of the building rather than also on the south. At that point, this is, maybe I can go to the aerial, it might be easier to see. This area we can see the break is concrete. This storage area right now is gravel. What he would do is remove that gravel, place a pad right in this area, put the model home on there, relocate the fence and the outdoor storage to the east side of the building. People would access the site using the existing parking lot, would go through his office building to take a look at the model home. That model home could be switched out when it's sold or if it was found not to be sellable, and a new model home could go on that site, but there'd be one home all the time. I'm going to go a little bit more forward, so once again you can see sort of the traffic area through the building. We went out and took some pictures. This would be where the pad would be, where the model home would be, so you can see the difference in the material, the ground material. I'm sorry these pictures come out so dark. You can see there is landscaping already out there, obviously no leaves right now. As part of his original development, he installed a bunch of landscaping along Stearns. This is a much better view, but you can't see it very well. There's pretty heavy shrubberies and evergreens in this area, and I don't think we included those in the packets. But I guess the point we're trying to make is that there's quite a bit of landscaping here along Stearns as it goes down and visible from the highway. So, given the mixed-use nature of the development, we don't feel that the proposed use would be detrimental at all. Sort of that mixed commercial and light industrial type of uses. Furthermore, we feel that the elimination of that good portion of that outdoor storage area that's very visible from the main thoroughfares, as this is a gateway into the city, and pulling it back into a smaller screened-in area blocked by the existing building is a plus for the site and for the gateway to the city as well. So we are going to be recommending approval. Oh, well, I'll give you, this is the first model home that he's thinking to put on there. It doesn't look very good with the elevations there, but it looks a lot better with the colored picture. So this is what would be sitting on the site right now, the first one for sale, but once again, that could switch out. Staff is recommending approval of the plan development request with 4 conditions: that grading and drainage approval be granted by the Department of Public Works for the new development area. The model home be placed on the hard surface concrete pad as approved by inspections. Former gravel storage area be removed and resurfaced with turf grass, and that the model home be placed in full contact with the pad.
Technical questions. David?
And what was submitted to you, was there anything about the building materials of the fence?
Mr. Dowling is here, but if I understand him correctly, he's going to be reusing the same fence that was removed, so I believe that's a cedar fence, correct? Yeah, so he'd be reusing that cedar fence. He'd just be relocating it where it sits now, kind of around this area. He'd be relocating this area.
And is there, did you make any requests for any type of landscaping around the model home?
No. No, we haven't. There's quite a bit of landscaping right now on Stearns, but we are requesting, again, the grass be placed instead of the gravel. So it'll green up the site, but there is already landscaping on the border. And if you're moving the structures in and out, I don't know, you're going to be limited to where you could put landscaping around the pad.
Kathy?
Just
And then
to
Steve?
reiterate, there will be grass around
That is
the
one
model home.
of that is one of the conditions. Yeah, everywhere where maybe if I can go back to the aerial, all this area right now that is gravel is going to be removed and would go back to grass.
Ah, okay, good. But just no shrubbery,
Right.
is what you're saying. Okay.
No additional shrubbery.
No additional shrubbery.
Steve?
What about signage? Has that been discussed?
It has not been discussed. Signage would go through the same as a regular C2 type sign regulation, follow code.
Ed?
And just so I make sure I understand this correctly, the sort of access path, the way that this would work is that a potential customer would pull into the parking area, they'd go into the existing building, into like a sales office or something like that, and then to go out to see this model home, they'd go through that building and exit the other side and go walk through that area to get there.
Correct.
So you wouldn't have anyone who'd be pulling up and parking directly adjacent to the model home or anything like that.
No, I don't think they'd be able to do that on Stearns.
I sort of assumed that. I just wasn't sure. It's kind of.
And
I just
Mr.
wanted to make
Dowling
sure
is
I'm
here.
looking at
The
it. Okay.
petitioner is here. You can probably
It
answer
looks
that.
like that's what it is. So I mean, it's probably fine.
Other technical questions? Okay, seeing none. Anybody here from the audience to speak to this item today? Dowling?
I'm open for any questions.
Questions from Mr. Dowling, as long as he's here?
Yeah,
David?
Excuse me. In access to your yard from the, I'm not sure if that's the west, but is that gated? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's all enclosed.
When I looked at it Saturday night, it wasn't closed, so that's what I was wondering.
You're talking about where you enter the yard?
No, that gating right there for your storage area.
If you're coming from Snell or Fountain, former Fountain, and you were coming south into the site, it's right where your gate enters the east side of the building. Right where you're here.
Switch to the aerial.
Can you put the picture
Put
up,
it,
please?
there you go.
Right here. Your access point from your parking lot into your storage yard.
Where's Labrie? Okay. Yeah, I had Labrie separated off. There is a gate right here.
Okay, I was just curious, because when I was there last weekend to check,
lock
look at the
equipment
site,
and stuff, yes.
there was no gate, or at least it was not closed.
It wasn't probably closed. But there is a gate there. Somebody was probably working late, I don't know.
Other questions from Mr. Dowling?
One follow-up, would you have any objection to put in any landscaping around the model?
I have no objection at all. I want it to look as nice as it can so I can sell homes.
Other questions for the petitioner? Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody else here to speak to this item today? Okay, seeing on, back to the commission. David? Roll.
And whether you put this as a motion or just by agreement put this as another
Condition?
condition, is that in conjunction with discussion with staff, that the landscaping be installed around wherever the model home is?
And there will be. It just will be trees so that they're high enough.
Right, so you can see.
All right.
There'll be shrubs or something on there.
That would be,
The wife will make sure of that.
Other thoughts? If we're comfortable, you comfortable just
yeah.
taking his word on it?
Well, I know I wanted it, like it as a condition.
You could have additional landscaping be
But-
provided around the model home per approval of Department of Community Development or something like that.
Okay. Other discussion?
Move for approval with 5 conditions and
Right.
recommendations.
Okay.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Whatson,
Aye.
Owen,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Kuntz,
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
Aye?
Whitehead.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0.
All right. Other items of business for us today, David?
There are not.
Okay. Need a motion? Adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're done.
Very nice.
Hey, I don't think I've met you yet. I'm Kathy Crowley.